Okay, so you've shared some really interesting material with me about self-improvement and success.
Yeah.
Um,
It's powerful stuff.
it is. It's like, I don't know, it's like a shot of espresso for the soul.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though it was originally in Spanish, the energy just like leaps off the page.
It's true. The speaker's enthusiasm is definitely contagious.
Yeah.
What I find really fascinating about this particular piece is his focus on taking action right now.
Okay.
He doesn't advocate for waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect circumstances or anything like that. He believes that the moment you start is the moment that the magic happens.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It is so easy to get stuck in the planning phase.
It is.
You know, where you're like, okay, I'm going to wait for the perfect time, the perfect circumstances, and then I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he's saying, no, there's no time like the present.
Absolutely. And he's not even necessarily talking about making these huge life-altering changes overnight.
Right.
He's actually a huge proponent of small, consistent actions.
Okay.
It's about, building momentum through the daily choices that we make. The things that might seem insignificant on their own,
Right.
but add up to big results over time.
He actually uses a phrase in here that I think really sums this up perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
He says, the easy to do is also easy not to do.
Mm.
And it's so true
Yeah.
when you think about it.
It is.
Like hitting the snooze button instead of getting up for that morning run.
Yeah.
Easy to do.
Super easy.
Also easy not to do.
Exactly.
And it's those little choices that end up making such a big difference, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. And that's actually where his concept of neglect comes into play.
Okay.
He's not talking about, massive failures here. He's talking about these subtle ways that we let things slide.
Okay.
The seemingly small things that we choose not to do each day.
Okay.
And over time, he argues that those small acts of neglect can accumulate and lead to, significant negative consequences.
He uses the example of skipping your daily walk
Okay.
for your health.
Right.
Like on any given day, you wake up, you're like, I don't really feel like going for a walk today.
Right.
No big deal.
Right.
But imagine letting that slide for a month,
Yeah.
a year,
Right.
5 years.
It adds.
Like all of a sudden those choices,
Right.
which seemed insignificant in the moment,
Right.
can have this sort of ripple effect throughout other areas of your life.
It's true.
It kind of reminds me of that snowball effect.
Yeah.
You start with this tiny little snowball,
Right.
and it doesn't seem very threatening.
Right.
But as it rolls and rolls and rolls,
It picks up momentum.
it picks up momentum,
Yeah.
and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Exactly.
And all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Yeah.
you've got this force to be reckoned with.
Right. And it speaks to his belief that self-discipline is like a muscle.
Oh.
The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
Okay.
And he sees it as the cornerstone of success
Okay.
in all aspects of life, really.
Not just work.
Not just work,
No.
not just finances.
No, he thinks it influences our relationships,
Okay.
our self-perception, even how we view the world around us.
So it's really about cultivating that inner strength,
Yes.
resilience,
Absolutely.
that then allows us to show up as the best versions of ourselves
Yeah.
in all areas of our lives.
Exactly. And he really stresses that building self-discipline
Okay.
requires pushing past those moments
Yeah.
where it would be easier to just give in,
Right.
to take the path of least resistance,
Yeah.
to quiet those voices in our heads
Right.
that say like, oh, just one more cookie, or you can do it tomorrow.
Right. Just 5 more minutes.
Just 5 more minutes. Exactly.
Okay.
Those voices of fear and procrastination and self-doubt.
We all have them. We all have them. But he encourages us to recognize them for what they are, which
Yeah.
is roadblocks on the path to reaching our full potential.
It's about making that conscious choice
Yes.
to act in alignment with our goals, even when it's uncomfortable,
Yeah,
even when it's challenging.
absolutely. And, he doesn't shy away from the fact that it takes effort.
Right.
He's very upfront about that.
Right.
But he also seems to believe that it's in that effort, in
Yeah.
that commitment to pushing beyond our comfort zones,
Yeah.
that we discover a deeper level of self-respect.
That's a really interesting point. It's like by choosing to do the hard things, the things that challenge us,
Yeah.
things that help us grow,
Right. Yeah.
we're essentially saying to ourselves, I'm worth it.
Exactly.
I'm worthy of investing in my own growth.
Yes.
I'm not going to take the easy way out.
Right.
I'm going to challenge myself.
Exactly.
Because I deserve it.
It's about honoring our own potential,
Yeah,
when you say.
absolutely. And one thing that really struck me
Yeah.
in this material was his emphasis on the power of mindset.
Okay.
He talks about how his mentor told him, change your philosophy, change your life.
Yes. That's a pivotal concept in his message.
It is.
It's not enough to just change our habits. We need to go deeper.
Okay.
We need to examine our underlying beliefs
Okay.
about ourselves and the world around us.
Interesting. It's like if you want different results,
Yeah.
you need to start by changing the way you think.
Exactly.
What a powerful idea.
It is.
It reminds me of that saying,
Yeah.
whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
It's like our beliefs really do shape our reality.
They do. And he gives a very specific example of this.
Right.
In the in the area of finances.
Okay.
He talks about how he used to focus on all the reasons he didn't have money.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't from a wealthy family.
Right.
He didn't have, a fancy degree or anything like that.
Okay.
But then he realized
Yeah.
that by focusing on those limitations, he was actually reinforcing them.
Yeah, he was affirming the lack,
Exactly.
which then becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right?
Like it makes you wonder what other limiting beliefs we might be holding on to
Yeah.
that are preventing us from reaching our full potential.
It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
It is.
And that's where I think his emphasis on taking ownership comes in.
Okay.
He really stresses the importance of acknowledging where we're at,
Go on.
but not allowing our current circumstances to define where we can go.
So it's about recognizing that we have the power to choose a different path,
Yes.
to create a new story for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like he's saying that self-discipline is the key to unlocking that power.
It is. And it's not about beating ourselves up
Right.
for past mistakes or perceived shortcomings.
Okay.
He's a big advocate for honesty,
All right.
being truthful with ourselves about our goals, our limitations, and even our excuses.
And you think in those moments of honesty,
Yeah.
we often uncover like this reserve of strength
I think so.
and determination that we didn't even know we had.
Yes, and it's like that quote, the truth will set you free,
Right.
but first it will piss you off.
Right. Sometimes facing the truth about ourselves can be uncomfortable,
Oh, absolutely.
even painful.
It can be, but I think that's where real growth and transformation begins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you have to kind of clear away the debris, the BS,
Yeah.
to make room for something new to emerge.
Exactly. And it's not just about being honest with ourselves.
Okay.
It's about being honest with others, too.
Oh, interesting.
He seems to believe that true self-discipline also involves taking responsibility for our actions,
Okay.
owning up to our mistakes, and making amends when necessary.
Now that takes courage.
It does.
It's so much easier to make excuses or blame other people.
It is.
But it sounds like he's saying that real strength
Yeah.
comes from taking ownership and then using those experiences as opportunities for growth.
Right.
It's about turning our missteps into stepping stones.
Absolutely. And speaking of learning from our experiences,
Yeah.
he's a big proponent of journaling.
Oh, really?
He talks about how his mentor emphasized the importance of writing things down,
Okay.
of not relying on memory alone.
So it's like creating a roadmap of your journey
Yes,
where you can look back and see how far you've come.
exactly.
You can identify patterns in your behavior.
Yeah.
You can maybe even spot those, easy to do, easy not to do moments.
Right.
That might have otherwise slipped your notice.
And he actually uses a phrase that I love. He says, don't trust your memory. And his reasoning is that our memories are fallible. They can fade or become distorted over time.
Right.
But what we write down becomes this tangible record
Okay.
of our experiences and insights.
It's like it's outside of ourselves.
Exactly.
So we can look at it
Yeah.
more objectively.
And he sees it as a way of solidifying our learning
Okay.
and creating a source of wisdom that we can return to again and again.
So it's not just about capturing the events of our lives,
Right.
but it's about capturing the lessons that we're learning
Yes.
along the way.
Exactly. And he doesn't just stop at journaling.
Okay.
He also talks about surrounding yourself with wisdom through reading.
Interesting.
He's a huge advocate for building a personal library.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to read a book.
Right.
But it's another thing to like curate a collection of books that really speak to you.
And it's not just about collecting these books to look impressive on a shelf or anything like that.
Right.
He truly believes in the power of books to expand our minds, challenge our perspectives, and inspire us to live more fulfilling lives.
It's like having a team of mentors and guides cheering you on from your bookshelf.
I love that visual. And it connects back to that core message of action.
Right.
He's not just advocating for passive learning here.
Okay.
He wants us to take those insights that we're gleaning from these books and actually put them into practice in our own lives.
He has this amazing just do it mentality.
He does.
That I find so inspiring. Like if someone recommends a book to him and it resonates, he doesn't wait. He goes out and gets it that day.
He's all about seizing those opportunities for growth, no matter how small they may seem.
And he even challenges this idea that we need to have it all figured out before we begin.
Exactly.
He's like, just start.
He says, the magic resides in the momentum that you create once you begin.
It's about taking that first step, that leap of faith, and trusting that the path will reveal itself as you go.
Trust the process.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is he even admits that, like, achieving success was easier than he thought it would be.
Interesting.
Which is encouraging.
It is. He was 31 years old and already financially successful.
Wow.
Which is impressive by any standard.
Yeah.
But he's very quick to point out that it wasn't effortless.
Okay.
He worked hard. Right. He put in the time and effort. But he also seems to have had a lot of fun along the way.
That's so important.
It is.
It's like success doesn't have to be this grueling, joyless pursuit.
No.
It can be fun.
It can be.
It can be an adventure.
It should be.
But it sounds like he's not attributing his success to like some grand scheme or some stroke of luck.
No.
But to just like consistently doing the small things. Right.
And that theme of neglect comes up again.
Okay.
But this time, it's about the power of small positive actions.
Okay.
Accumulating over time.
Interesting.
It's like he's saying, just as small negative choices can lead us down a path we don't want to be on, small positive choices can lead us toward a life that feels more aligned and fulfilling.
I love that.
And what's really interesting is he wasn't some kind of anomaly here. He talks about how he now teaches teenagers to achieve financial success, often by the age of 40 or even younger.
Wow. And how does he do that?
Well, that's the thing. He claims there's no secret.
Oh, come on. There's got to be a secret.
He's adamant that it's not about some secret technique or some shortcut. It's about facing the truth about your situation, taking responsibility for your choices, and then just consistently applying these fundamental principles to your life.
Interesting. So it's not about finding that easy way out.
Right.
It's about like changing your relationship with the journey itself.
Yeah. And it speaks to his belief that...
Which is pretty profound, by the way.
It is.
When you think about it.
It is.
Yeah.
It speaks to his belief that true fulfillment comes not from reaching some distant destination, but from embracing the process of growth and self-discovery.
Yeah. And he reminds us that, what is easy to do is also easy not to do.
Exactly.
And that's why so many people struggle.
Yes.
Because they're looking for that quick fix.
They are.
They're looking for that magic bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. When really the magic happens, when we embrace the challenge.
Yes.
When we embrace the discipline.
Absolutely.
When we embrace that, consistent effort that it takes to create lasting change.
It's about falling in love with the process of becoming the best versions of ourselves.
And, and let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be easy.
It's not.
Like, we're going to stumble.
We're human. We are human, Yeah. He's very open about that.
Okay.
He acknowledges that, self-discipline can be tiring. We have moments of weakness. We give in to temptation.
Of course.
We make mistakes.
We're human.
We're human. But it's about recognizing those moments for what they are.
Okay.
Opportunities to learn, to grow, to course correct.
It's about cultivating that self-compassion.
Yes. Absolutely.
Recognizing that we're all a work in progress.
We are.
And that's okay.
It is.
Like, we don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and respect.
Exactly.
And that includes self-love and self-respect.
Absolutely. He talks about this incredible shift that he experienced in his own life when he embraced this philosophy, and it wasn't just about money or finances, it infected all areas of his life, his relationships, his health, his overall sense of well-being. He realized that by changing his internal world, his mindset, his approach to challenges, he could change his external reality as well.
So it's like he unlocked this whole new level of personal power.
He did.
By shifting his focus from like trying to control external circumstances to mastering his own internal world.
Right. And a big part of that, it seems, was changing his philosophy, as his mentor called it.
Right. Like changing your whole way of thinking about things?
Yes. That's a key takeaway for me from this material.
It is.
It's not just about changing your habits.
Right.
It's about changing your whole way of thinking.
Okay. About success, about challenges, about your own potential.
About yourself.
About yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's essentially advocating for a complete paradigm shift.
And it sounds like a big part of that is recognizing and dismantling those limiting beliefs that we all have.
Yes, he's a firm believer in that.
We all have them.
He talks about how we often get in our own way by telling ourselves these stories about why we can't achieve something or why we're not good enough. And those stories, even if they're not true, become our reality.
It's like we become trapped by our own thinking.
Exactly. But he seems to be saying that we have the power to break free.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, it starts with becoming aware of those limiting beliefs. Those negative self-talk patterns, you know.
Once we can identify them, then we can start to challenge them and replace them with more empowering beliefs.
And that's where the transformation begins.
That's where the real magic happens.
So it's not about becoming someone else.
Right.
It's about becoming like the best, most authentic version of ourselves.
Exactly. And he believes that self-discipline is the key to unlocking that potential.
He really seems to believe in the power of self-discipline.
He even goes so far as to say that self-discipline, when fully embraced, can lead to a sense of mastery over life itself.
Wow.
Which might sound like a bold statement.
It does.
But when you really think about it, it's incredibly empowering.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just victims of circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, just being like buffeted by forces beyond our control.
Right. We have agency.
We do. We have the power.
We have the power to learn.
To adapt.
To adapt and ultimately to thrive.
Yeah.
Even in the face of challenges.
And that's a journey.
It is.
Right. It's not like you just arrive at self-discipline.
No, it's ongoing.
And then you're done.
There's no finish line.
Yeah.
There's no point at which we can say, okay, I'm done. I've achieved peak self-discipline.
It's a lifelong practice.
It is. It's commitment to showing up for ourselves.
Yeah.
Each and every day.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard. And I think that's what makes this material so compelling.
It is.
You know, it's not about achieving some unattainable ideal of perfection.
Right.
It's about embracing the messy, imperfect, and ultimately rewarding process.
It is rewarding.
It is of becoming the best versions of ourselves.
And, you know, it's about recognizing that true strength comes.
Yeah.
Not from never falling.
Right.
But from having the courage to get back up each time we do.
I love that because it is about resilience.
It is.
It's about that ability to bounce back.
Yeah.
And to learn from our mistakes and keep moving forward.
And I think that's a perfect place to end this deep dive.
I think so too.
You know, because as we've been talking about this whole time, the power to shape our destinies, it doesn't lie in, you know, some grand singular gesture.
Right.
It lies in those small, consistent choices
that we make
each and every day.
Every single day.
So as you go about your day today and in the days to come, I want you to just remember what we talked about. Remember the power of self-discipline.
Yes.
Remember the importance of taking action.
Even small actions.
Even when it's hard.
When it's hard.
And remember that you have the power to create the life that you want.
You do.
One small choice at a time.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This has been another great deep dive.
It has.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.